ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadhyasya yato nivayad itaratas charte swavigyaswarat. Tene Brahma Hidaya Adhikavaye Muyanti Atsurayaha. Tejo Varimidam Yata Vinimayo Yatra Trisago Misha. Damna Srina Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dimahi. O my Lord, Shri Krishna, son of Vasudeva. O all-pervading personality of Godhead. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna, for he is the absolute truth, and the primeval cause of all causes, of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen on fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Dharma prochita kaitavotra paramo nimatsanam satam Vedyam vastavamatra vastu Shivadam tapotrayam mulanam. Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim va purer Ishwaraha Sadyo Hridi Avurudyate Tra Kriti Bihi Sususubis Taksanat. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The absolute truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Nigama kalpatarur galitam phalam Sukhamukad amrita dravya samyutam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasam Alayam Muhur Ahorasika Bhuvibhavukaha. O expert and thoughtful man, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all. including liberated souls. Shinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Vidyam Taksto Bhadrani Vidunoti Suhitsatam. To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures, or to hear about him directly through the Bhagavad Gita, is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, becomes or acts as a best wishing friend, and purifies the devotee who constantly hears about him. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, Text number 22. Anda Puraiva Vadiro Manda Pragyas Chasampratam Vishirna Dantu Mandagni Saraga Kapam Udvahan. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti and purport by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. You have been blind from your very birth, and recently you have become hard of hearing. Your memory is shortened, and your intelligence is disturbed. Your teeth are loose, your liver is defective, and you are coughing up mucus. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The symptoms of old age, which had already developed in Dhritarashtra, were all one after another pointed out to him as warning that death was nearing very quickly. And still, he was foolishly carefree about his future. The signs pointed out by Vidura in the body of Dhritarashtra were signs of apakshaya, or dwindling of the material body before the last stroke of death. The body is born, it develops, stays, creates other bodies, dwindles, and then vanishes. But foolish men want to make a permanent settlement of the perishable body and think that their estate, children, society, country, etc., will give them protection. With such foolish ideas, they become overtaken by such temporary engagements and forget altogether they must give up this temporary body and take a new one. Again, to arrange for another term of society, friendship, and love. Again, to perish ultimately. They forget their permanent identity and become foolishly active for impermanent occupations, forgetting altogether their prime duty. Saints and sages like Vidura approach such foolish men to awaken them to the real situation, but they take such sadhus and saints as parasites of society. Almost all of them refuse to hear the words of such sadhus and saints, although they welcome show bottle sadhus and so-called saints who can satisfy their senses. Vidura was not a sadhu to satisfy the ill-gotten sentiment of Dhritarashtra. He was correctly pointing out the real situation of life and how one can save oneself from such catastrophes. Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana Ki Jai. Well, the symptoms of old age are not anything new. Everybody knows what they are. But they refuse to accept that these symptoms are indications that one will soon leave the body. And therefore, this syndrome of hope against hope is the symptom of such people also. They think that one hope might free them from the cycle of birth and death, like, for example, some miracle drug that can stop cancer, or some miracle drug that can stop the coronavirus, or some miracle procedure that can stop a heart attack causing death, and so forth. And therefore, with this hope, they do not take seriously hearing about Atma Tattva, the nature of the soul. They rather continue to perpetuate, as long as they can, their sense gratification. Well, when that hope is done, then another hope comes up. Oh, there's a new drug that's being experimented now. If I use all my influence, I'll be able to use this drug before the FDA approves it, and hopefully it will save me. Another pipe dream, another nonsense, useless hope. So, but again, it's another excuse why not to listen. This not to listen is a symptom of people who are diseased by the society, friendship, and love. This was, I think it was Rudyard Kipling that wrote a poem in which he said, society, friendship, and love are the blessings of God, something like that. That's not the exact wording, but society, friendship, and love, divinely bestowed upon humanity. That's what he said. So someone would say, well, wait a minute, what's wrong with that? Well, what's wrong with it is that these things will hold a person back, or attachment to these things will hold a person back from becoming serious about understanding the real nature of the soul and the soul's eternal relationship with Krishna, and understanding who is Krishna exactly as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there are so many reasons why people do not take hearing and chanting the holy names of the Lord and knowledge about the Lord seriously. They think there's so many other important things like politics, business, social, what you would call social duties, family duties, and so forth. And thus they waste their precious time, and time is the most precious thing that we have, and neglect the need to develop Atma Tattva, knowledge of the soul and its eternal relationship with Krishna. So, with such foolish ideas about the state, children, society, country, etc., thinking that these things will give one protection, they, or persons that are materially affected by society, friendship, and love, are overtaken by such temporary engagements and forget altogether that they must give up the temporary body and take a new one, again to arrange for another term of society, friendship, and so-called love. And again, they will perish ultimately. Okay, so what is life exactly? The real endeavor in life is to understand who we are. What is our relationship with the material world? What is our relationship with Krishna? What is our relationship with others, other living entities? And understand who is the ultimate controller of all these things. Unless we come to that type of understanding, we remain entangled in the cycle of birth and death. Therefore, there's a very nice verse in the Bhagavad Gita, 8th chapter. Purushasa para partha bhakta rajasayastata. Adityam asakam lokam imam prapya prajasyamam. Let's see if that's right. So this verse is saying that, I'm sorry, Yashyantakstani bhutani yena sarvam idam tatam. It says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading, and everything is situated within him. So this one verse, again, this is Vedic literature, is an all-encompassing verse explaining who Krishna is. First of all, it says he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all. In other words, no one is equal to him or greater than him. Not Shiva, Lord Shiva, not Lord Brahma, not Lord Indra, not anyone. Everyone is subordinate to him. And then is attainable by unalloyed devotional. So that's the point. You cannot attain him by jnana, yoga, or mystic jnana. Karma, jnana, or yoga. You can't attain him by these processes only. There has to be bhakti yoga, otherwise these other processes will not succeed at all. So it's only, as Krishna says later on in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 11th chapter, 54th verse, and then in the 16th chapter, 66th verse, he says that bhaktya tvananyaya sakya aham evam vidurirjana gyatum drastam chitadvena pravesham cha parantapa. He says, O Arjuna, I can be attained only by undivided devotional service, and thus be understood as I am standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. So this verse says he's greater than all and is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he's present in his spiritual abode, he is all-pervading in several ways. One, by the Brahma Jyoti, and two, more significantly, by the Paramatma. And everything is situated within him. Yeah, in his universal form as Virat Rupa, everything in the material world is situated within him, and everything in the spiritual world also is situated within him, because he's all present by his expansions, including the Narayana expansions and all the Vaikuntha planets, and in Goloka, in Vrindavan and Mathura and Dwarka, etc. So this one verse contains all this transcendental information. That is Scripture. Scripture is so powerfully compact that one little verse, you could write many books about it. That's real Scripture. So, therefore, Krishna is the ultimate destination for all living entities. Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Paripavitram, Paramam Bhavam. So he's the Param Dhamma, the ultimate abode and ultimate destination of all living entities. And in Brahma Samhita, the spiritual world is described as Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, where everything is full of spiritual bliss. So that is the symptom of real spiritual life. Real spiritual life is not one has troubled furrow of the forehead and worried about this thing is going to happen and that thing is going to happen and we don't know what's going to happen and what's going to happen to us. No. The devotee is always engaged in transcendental bliss by virtue of devotional service, by virtue of associating with other devotees who have the same understanding about the purpose of life. The purpose of life is to understand who Krishna is, and then with that understanding engage in pure devotional service without any material motive. And then one is liberated even in this world. Iha yasya haridasya karmana manasajira akilasvapyavasta su jivan mukta sauchite. One is jivan mukta even in this world, even in the fallible material body. So the all variegatedness manifest in the spiritual world is of the quality of spiritual bliss. This is the symptom of the devotee, the spiritual bliss that they are experiencing at every moment in this body, in this world, by engaging in pure devotional service. So this is something that Dhritarashtra knows nothing about, because he's wasted his whole life in family and society and so-called puppy love, as they say in English, this false so-called love. Just like in America, people always say, "I love you." So this "I love you," what does it mean exactly? I love the sense gratification in this family, and then when there's no more sense gratification, you read in a newspaper, husband kills wife and children and then puts the trigger on himself. So the question is, why did the husband kill the wife and children? Was it because of love? No, it wasn't because of love. Because of extreme frustration, because the husband didn't see how he could extract any more sense gratification from the wife and the children. So he decided to kill them and kill himself. And it's happening every day. Okay, so we'll stop right there. Are there any questions? And of course, Prabhupada, what does he say? Such foolish men do not take the association of sadhus and saints, and they refuse to hear the words of such sadhus and saints. Although they welcome show bottle saints or sadhus and so-called saints who can satisfy their senses. There you go. That's exactly what's happening today. Any questions? Yes. Dhritarashtra was a sadhu? Vidura, yeah. Well, no, Vidura left at one point, then he came back. Yes, go ahead.
So why did not Dhritarashtra realize during the whole time only at the end of his life, just few days after the war?
Why is it that there may be initiated devotees who don't regularly hear classes and maybe not even chant all their rounds? Same reason. They're preoccupied with mundane affairs based on family, society, and so-called love. They think that these other things, just like Arjuna, he thought that his family was more important than Krishna's order. You see? Why is it Arjuna refused to fight? Because he thought his family relationship was more important than the order of the Lord. But by hearing Bhagavad Gita, he understood what his real duty was. That is to follow Krishna's instructions, follow the instructions of genuine devotees who always direct one toward pure devotional service, not with mixed devotional service, but pure devotional service. Does that mean you ignore your family? No. You take better care of your family in the sense that you're not, in other words, if you take a vacation, it's not to Disneyland, it's to Vaikuntha, it's to Vrindavan, you see. Other people think, well, let's take a vacation. Let's go to Disneyland. We'll take our kids at Disneyland and see Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. You see. So there are even devotees that do that. They think, well, let's go to Montana. What are we going to see in Montana? We're going to see deer and buffalo. Rather than, let's go to Rath Yatra in Los Angeles and see Jagannath. Right? So that's the point. This family, society, and love is diverting the attention of most people, even devotees, from their primary duty. Okay? Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.